Mhm. Welcome to the Next Level You podcast. I am your host, Danielle Rocco, and with me today is the gorgeous blonde Megan Fenyoe. She is a licensed, okay, let me get this all right, because this girl's got a list. I'm gonna have to read it off here. All right, okay, first of all, she is a veteran. She didn't tell me to say that, but.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Yeah, I have to, girl of my own heart. But she's a licensed mental health therapist, best-selling author, podcast host, founder of I Am Enough movement, which is huge. And I think that's how I met her. Got my picture with her card at a gala. Oh yeah, lady. What else do you do?
Oh my goodness, girl. Well, I'm a speaker and a trainer and, a blonde bombshell. That's my podcast name.
Which I love.
Yeah. And you were just on my podcast. So I'm so excited and so honored to be on your show today.
Oh, thank you. I am ready to share with the world who you are, how you got here, because that's what this show is about. It's just people getting a fire inside them, finding like, why are you doing what you do? Because everybody has it. And sometimes we just go through life with this like tunnel and we don't even know what we're doing until one day we wake up and we're like, mother of pearl. Where have I been?
Yes, I know that feeling all too well, for sure.
So first off, let's start with, how did you get to where you are today? Did you have like this aha moment, this wake up thing, or was it gradual? What was it?
Oh, goodness. How much time do we have? No, I'm just joking.
Shoot, I didn't even put the timer on. Look at that's what happened.
I would have this down pat, but there's just so much into it. But so I've been a mental health therapist for 15 years and was an officer in the Air Force. So I moved from when I was 33 years old. That was a crazy decision. Crazy. I know. Moved from Michigan to California. I was stationed at Travis Air Force Base. And then when I got out, I was doing mental health therapy in Northern California and was also married. And was in a very abusive, narcissistic marriage. And we can get into that more later. But
that will help.
Yeah. And I became so traumatized. He had an affair for 14 months out of our 2.5-year marriage. And I found myself just living this mediocre life. And I was a therapist, in between patients, I would be on the floor crying. Like, what is going on with me? Like, I'm not good enough. And I had this nudging feeling that I was meant to do something more. Mm-hmm. And so instead of working through my emotional trauma, I was working full-time, started a private practice and a network marketing business because I thought that that's what that nudging feeling was.
Right.
And lo and behold, it was not that. So I actually thought the nudging feeling was for me to move to San Diego. So 2 years ago, I moved to San Diego. My divorce was final in 2016, but there's way more after that, which we can get into or not.
Yeah.
But it is part of my story of how I got here today. But anyway, so I moved here to San Diego in 2016 or 2017 and took a job transfer. So I was working in a hospital, same hospital, but just down in San Diego. And again, there was that nudging feeling like, come on, girl. But I was so fearful. That's what it was. And I didn't realize that's what it was. I always thought in the back of my head that I couldn't leave my 6-figure job at the hospital to pursue being the boss of my own life because I was single, because I didn't have that second income. Well, the decision was made for me when I was let go of my job. Now, mind you, I've been a therapist for 15 years. I was a veteran, literally have never lost my job. And I had been in that job for six months. And I admit I posted a Facebook Live on Whole Food Nutrition in my office, but nowhere on Facebook did it say where I worked. You couldn't tell where I worked, but I do have to take that, part of it that I did do that. And they let me go. I was fired. I was fired at 38 years old. Lost everything. Lost my 6-figure income. I was still talking to my ex. And it was the best thing that could have happened to me.
Isn't that amazing? You know, we sit in our fears of so much, and boy, can I relate. And I am sure there are other women out there that can relate to, I'm alone.
Mm-hmm.
I can't do this. I need that, whatever that is. I need that. So it's a security blanket.
It is.
It takes what, like, and I don't, why do you think that is? It is probably up to number one, number two of why women don't do what they want to do.
I think it's been something that we've been accustomed to think, right? Like, think about, I know there's so many times where I didn't get married till I was 34 and people were like, what's wrong with you? You know, like, don't you ever want to get married? Don't you want to have kids? And I'm like, yes, I want to get married, but I never want to have kids. And I think it's just kind of something that society made us believe. It's one of those limiting self-beliefs that we get from society and from other people, that you can't leave a job and go out on your own unless you have a second income. And so that, to me, I turned that into, I need a man.
Yeah.
Like, I need to be married and have a second income, because I tried the 3 jobs, you know, the full-time job, the private practice, and that still wasn't helping me. And so I got in that mentality of, you know, I need someone else. And honestly, like, I was in the midst of, again, so much trauma. I lost my job in September of 2017. 3 months later, I had another traumatic incident that happened with my ex-husband, and walked away from him in February of 2018. So within 4 months, I lost my job, walked away from him, and had to file for bankruptcy. Oh, at like 39 years old. You know, my career, I've been a therapist since I was 23. I've been so lucky financially, making 6 figures, working for the government. And then I found myself with nothing. And I was like, okay, I could easily go back and get a 6-figure job. But you know what? I got the taste of entrepreneurship when I started my networking marketing business, and it changed my life. So I started writing my book February of 2018 in the midst of my own trauma and everything that's going on, and started doing contract work as a therapist. So now I work maybe 25 hours a week as a contract therapist and bring in as much money as I did working 6 figures. Plus I have my coaching and my other programs that I do, and my book and speaking and all of that. So I'm in complete control of my life. And it took all of those struggles. And that's what I really focus on is work. How do you work through those struggles and those limiting self-beliefs so that you can create the life that you want? Now, mind you, I'm just getting back on track financially. And there's a lot of things that I want to do in my business, but I have to be smart about it, because I don't want to get into the rut that I did, you know, because of my ex-husband and all of the crap that I got from him financially and all of that stuff. So I'm still in the midst of some struggle, but it's super exciting. I love getting up in the morning and doing what I do.
Yeah, you're like on the, it's not that perfect, but I mean, when is life ever like perfect? But you're on the upswing. There, you have gotten yourself out of the hole, out of the gunk and the mush, and you're moving here. You have dreams that you're fulfilling, passions that you're fulfilling, and like you said, you like getting up. Is it a perfect scenario? No, but I think when we work towards that perfect scenario, we're going to be muchly disappointed. That's not really a word, muchly, but it is today.
It is today, girl.
It is right now. You know, so you've done the hard part. You've come and been like, I can do this on my own. No matter what, I can. And so, man, abundance and all of that jazz is just going to continue to flow, and wonderful people in your life. And it is, I can see it. So that is a super inspirational story for me, and I can imagine for everybody else that's listening to this, because how many times have we felt something that you just said?
Yeah. And, you know, first of all, I want to say one of the amazing things of jumping into this world of entrepreneurship, I've only been doing it for 1.5 years, and I've met such incredible people. And one of them has been you, and we hit it off immediately at the gala. And I just want to sing your praises for all the support you've given me with the book and the movement. And I'm just so happy you're in my life. And I'm so proud of everything you're doing.
Oh, well, thank you. That's like,
So I just had to say that. I got like
a present. Yeah.
I got like friend goosebumps or whatever, like, oh, you know.
It is. Well, do you think, so this is like my philosophy. I say it, and then when you see it come in, because most people think it has to do with stuff, money, and that is your success, and that is how you're going to judge yourself on a scale, is what's in your bank account, things. But man, when you create this mindset, like you created this mindset that you were just, and you probably didn't, I would assume, maybe I'm wrong, but it was created. And you just didn't wake up one day and be like, this is my new mindset and I'm going to do it. It kind of stacked, right? Like,
girl, I'm a mental health therapist. And the reason why they say most people become therapists because they're a little crazy themselves. Yeah. So I've been working on this mindset since I was a kid, honestly. And I just realized I was doing it.
There you go, everybody. It's from the professional of the professional.
Yeah.
It's right there. But when you do that, and when you're working on it, you're creating it, and you hit these like aha moments, I feel like every time you hit this aha, like, wow, I did it, or whoa, I've changed, or whatever it is, what appears in front of you blows my pants off. Yeah. Constantly, just like us, which I never knew coming around that corner and meeting you and having that connection, we would be here. And then we were on a call about a project that we're going to be doing together in September. So watch out, everybody.
I'm so excited.
I know, me too. I already had like the outline done and sent before this. I was like, I got to write this.
I know.
I'm like, I might have screwed up Google Drive, but you guys work with me.
It's all about the learning process. I'm proud of you for, just jumping into Google Drive.
Yeah. I'm like, shoot, she said Google Drive. Great. I'm on it. But I heard the same story with one of the other women. That's how she met you. She just connected with you at an event, and there you are. And I fully believe it's the more we like integrate with ourselves and accept the good and accept the ugly and get rid of that ugly, get rid of that ego, the just amazing things come together that you're like, how did this even happen? How did all of these people connect? And here we are. It's magical.
It is. And I look back at that because I was doing another interview today, and I was like, and I talk about this in my book. So for 6 years, I was involved in this marriage, right? Well, we weren't technically married. We were married for 2.5 years. But anyway, yeah. Because of, his affair and then all of the other, if you want to know the juicy details, just get the book and read it because it's all in there. But
that's enough said.
Yeah. Everything that happened, I allowed his behavior and the things he did to create the story in my mind that I wasn't enough. Mm-hmm. And because I always felt like I had to look good on the outside and no one's going to know my issues and my problems because it's not my closest friends. No one had any idea what was going on. I didn't even say the divorce word, and half the people when they got my book, like they realized I was divorced. Right.
Right.
And so I did not realize how that was affecting me. Like I knew like behind closed doors, I'd be like on the floor crying, screaming at God saying, why are you doing this? And then saying, all of these things and being an emotional mess. And it wasn't until I finally walked away from him in February of last year where my friends would say, Megan, you are a completely different person. Now, I grew up in a somewhat very dysfunctional, somewhat abusive home. So I do struggle with anger issues. And my anger was very rampant in this marriage. But they would say to me, Megan, you are just so calm. And your face just looks so like relaxed, and you're not irritated, and you're not this, like, supposedly, I guess everything transformed for me the minute I walked away from him. Although I was still devastated and, got myself back into therapy and all of that stuff, there was this change in my physical appearance and the way that I carried myself. And that is the pivotal moment when people started saying that about me, that I made the decision that I had to close the door, not find closure from him, because I was never going to get that. I still haven't gotten sorry or anything like that from him, but I had to find the closure of the person I became when I was with him, that traumatized, broken, I'm not good enough girl. And so in that process of writing my book, that's why I say my book is my saving grace, because I was in the midst of the trenches, the trauma when I was writing it. That is when I really, truly began to believe that I am enough. And the minute I did that, everything changed. The book happened. I started having confidence to go to networking events just here in San Diego by myself, like, okay, Megan, you got to get out there. You're writing this book and you're doing podcast interviews. You got to get your name out there. But it wasn't because of that. It was because I wanted connections, right? And I wanted to meet people and be authentic and meet people on a different level. And so a lot of people, like you said earlier, talk about, it's about how much money I get, or I sell this program for this much and I made this much, this and that. But for me as an entrepreneur, what I love and what gives me the most joy and gratification is meeting people like you, going to networking events and being inspired and creating amazing relationships with other human beings where we can support each other's dreams. And I never would have been here in this position to be able to say that I am enough if I didn't do the hard work to get me here.
Right.
That was really long.
No, that was it, because you're given a situation. We're all given situations. It's what we do with the situation that is going to pivot you one way or the other. And I also believe we're given the situations repeatedly until we learn the lesson. That's why you hear people say why does this always happen to me?
Can I tell you an example?
Yes.
Just real quick.
Yes.
So the affair happened, right? And I stayed faithful and committed to him. He divorced me in 2016. Again, I remained faithful and committed to him. And some other stuff happened for the 2 years. We were still talking, all of that stuff. And he came down in February of 2018 and said, I made the biggest mistake of my life. I'm going to show you, blah, blah, blah. I have a job interview down here. And I remember praying before I picked him up from the airport. And I never did this because I was so, in the 6 years, I never prayed this because I was so scared for him to walk away from me because I was so broken. And I said, Lord, if this is not meant to be, you need to show me. The affair wasn't enough for me to walk away. The divorce wasn't enough for me to walk away. I said, please show me. And within 24 hours, I kid you not, 24 hours later, he was in my living room and I found out that he had moved in another girl a month before our divorce was final. So 2 years, she had been living in our home while he was still talking to me and dating me and talking about the future. Literally 24 hours after I said that prayer, God was showing me the same thing over and over and over again. And I was so scared. I was so scared to just say, you're right. I trust you. I'm going to walk away, So yes, things that happen in our life consistently, whatever you believe in, God, the universe, higher power, you have to pay attention to that because it's trying to tell you something.
Yes, because the common factor of all of it is you.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, yes.
Right? It keeps happening to you, hence that word you in that statement. So What is it that you are not seeing? And it has something to do with who you are,
And it's all about your mindset. So my passion, and when I work with clients with my coaching and then, patients in my therapy practice, I focus on the mindset. So I really don't focus on things that happened in the past because I explain to them and educate them on the fact that these things happened, but you're in control of what the story that you're telling yourself. And so I tell people all the time, when you're feeling anxious, depressed, sad, get into your head and figure out what you're saying to yourself, consciously or subconsciously. Because when you think about it, if you actually paid attention to how many negative things we say to ourselves in a day, it's astounding.
Oh, it's crazy.
And when subconsciously, when we're saying that to ourselves, we don't realize, because it's not in the forefront of our mind, how that's contributing to our motivation, to our sleep, to what we want in life, to our energy levels. It's crazy. And so I work a lot with people on reality testing your thoughts, and visualization. The reality testing is super, super important. And so I really focus on that, because 99.9% of our behaviors, our experiences, our actions, our results are from what we tell ourselves.
Well, you move to what you, the picture in your mind. And the picture in your mind is what comes from our unconscious majority of the time. So it will move you directly into that. And what is it that you think, you probably know the number. I always forget the number. You think like 70% or 80% of the same thoughts every single day. It's something like ridiculously high like that. So it's the same exact thing.
Yep.
Continuously.
So, yeah. And I don't know the percentage, but that is the one thing that I work with on myself and with my people, my clients, my patients, is what is that one thought? Mine was, I'm not good enough. And so I take them through a series, this is a therapist skill technique. Right. I take them through a series of different questions and things to test that reality and to come up with a new idea, like asking, like, who's the source that's telling you that you're not good enough? Well, my ex-husband never told me I wasn't good enough, but I created that story in my head based on his behaviors. So 99.9% of the time, the source that's telling us something negative is us. We're allowing ourselves. And then there's a bunch of other stuff that goes with it. But yeah, so it's the same thing, which is why, the whole I am enough thing. And that's why, as you know, and a lot of people that are probably watching this, I'm known as the I am enough girl. That is my saving grace. That is my thing. And that's my passion and my purpose, is to truly help people believe that they are enough.
Yes. Because we can say it all the time, but really when you ask people and you talk to them, if they believe it, it's a totally different story. People would not be stuck. They would not be overwhelmed. We would both be out of a job.
I know. Right?
If that was the way it is. And there's some truth to it being said that it is easier to believe the negative than it is the positive. I mean, just look at our whole society as a whole. You hear, the majority of what you hear and people talk about is the negative. So that goes right into who you are. I always have you need to be at ground zero, where I'm not like, wah, and I'm not like, I need to be right here in this place. And when I feel myself go up or down, although people think I'm always like, wah,
I was just going to say that. I'm like, I'm very interested to see your up. Like, honestly, you're always up. So I'm very interested to see that.
I think that is kept very in a down low box, hidden, stuffed somewhere deep where nobody needs it. There might be an explosion that goes on somewhere. But that is like, I do have that high energy in that, but that's like that is just my chill space. And so, because I am a very expressive, emotional person, but you got to find what that is. And actually that brings me to, I never thought of this before, but when you think of, saying you are enough, and then it goes into comparison and all of that, like my chill zone, my ground zero, it is like here. This is me in my place, where it looks very different than yours. So I think we also start to question ourselves as we're kind of trying to get into a new place, into a new life, to get unstuck. Well, what am I supposed to, what is that look like? Because I'm not like Danielle. Right. If that's what I got to be, I am never getting there. That's awful. Or I'm, someone that's really mellow and zen, I will be like, that might be that might be my death area, you know? So I feel like, do you find that in your work? Do you work on that with people? Be like, look, you're an individual, fantastic human being. So
Yes.
you're, how do you do that? Or is there a tip you give them, or what does that look like? Or tell me.
I love this question. It's really about, and again, I'm going to say the book because it's in the book.
Well, your book is like amazing. It's like, you need to know anything, just hit the book. It's like the dictionary.
Thank you. So it's a 5-step system to move from struggle to strength. And so step 1 is discovering your true self. So when you're in the midst of trauma or confusion, or you have like that nudging feeling like I had, and like I think you had too, who are you? Right? So like discovering who you truly are, because once you discover who you truly are, then you feel like you're an individual, right? I mean, there's still other steps that you need to do to really begin to believe that you're enough, but discovering who you truly are, which also includes your values. So I really work on values with people. And in the book, what I made this purposefully for the book, because we've all read self-help books, right?
Yeah.
And we've all gone to like events and things like that. And we're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, but then we never do anything with it.
Yes.
So with my book, I made it a point to do journal pages. And so at the end of each chapter, I ask questions and encourage my readers to journal. So do the work right there. Mm-hmm. And so this is part of it. The step 1, discovering who you truly are and really defining your values. So there's actually a values exercise in the book where you can do that. And so when I was in the process of rediscovering who I was, because I didn't feel like an individual. I didn't feel like I was enough, and I was stuck and just life was crumbling all around me. I redefined my values, and I didn't realize how big that was going to be for me. So like my top 3 values are authenticity, integrity, and honesty. And so how I use that now, and how I used it while I was trying to find who I truly was, is if I have a thought or a behavior or whatever, right, I always ask, well, not always, because I'm not perfect, right? Most of the time I try to ask myself, how does this thought, behavior, or action honor my values of authenticity, integrity, and honesty? That gave me the ability to be myself, to find out who I truly was, to be that individual, and then to say, as long as I adhere to these values as best as I can, because again, yes, I'm gonna screw up, then I know that I'm enough, right? Yes. So there's so many in the book, and when I talk to my clients, there's a lot of questions that I ask them. They actually do, if they want to, they do the steps while they're working with me. Sometimes people don't want to, and that's fine. But there are certain questions and certain things that you need to dive deep and get in the nitty gritty and figure out. That's what's going to make you an individual and be your own person, so that you can start visualizing this amazing future that is in front of you.
Yes. It's like that mission statement. I work on mission statements. It's the same process, because if you don't know what your value is, in the gunk, and when something gets smacked in your face or you regress, because we're human, we're going to regress at points. How are you going to know where you're moving? What's going to bring you back if you don't in the beginning know where you are, mm-hmm, and who you are? And to add on that must create your community too, because if the community you're involved in, you're starting to see don't align with your mission statement and your values, right? Mm-hmm. How are you going to stay true to what you are trying to create?
Yeah.
And exactly. It's easy. I mean, it's never easy to start flushing through, but it's really easy when you allow yourself to see like, oh, this person is not. And, I always say never shut the door completely. You're not a jerk, but they don't need to be top 5 in your life. They don't need to even be the top 20. You just say, hey, when you walk by, you change that environment. But if you don't know what your value are, how are you going to change that environment that you have? So I see that. And I know in the book, it like all that stuff leads into it. And I'm mentioning it because like you said, it doesn't just stop here. It trickles. There are more steps that you have to go through that will lead to your environment changing, your opportunities changing, the people in your life changing. Because one of the biggest things that I hear people say, and tell me if you're wrong, if you hear this, when they're going through this process and they don't want to let go, they don't want to change, they don't want to go through the hard things and let go of things in their past, they will be like, but this person is. They'll give the excuse of why that person needs to stay in their life, even though none of them fit to where they want to be. I always say it's like the easiest example for me is like the dad that doesn't pay child support, doesn't show up for their kids, but when he's with them, he's a good dad.
So
that doesn't make a good dad. Like, that doesn't mean that, you know, he's up here, right? Or a husband, like, but he provides even though he's cheating on me.
I was stuck there. I totally get it. For 6 years.
Right.
Just in the book. Oh, well, you know, he calls me every once in a while and he'll take me out and, you know, but yeah, it's crazy because it's all based on fear.
Right. And if you had your values then, if you had this then, it would be a whole different story. Now, I believe in God, you know, so you needed to go through these process. He gives you the things so that you can learn from them so you never do them again and you become a better person. But if you were here and you'll never go back there because you're here now, you'll see that with such clarity that it would be like, whoa.
I've had no contact with him since February of 2018.
That's good.
He's contacted me. We won't get into all of that, but I haven't. And it's been amazing because it's so empowering, you know, and it's crazy. I mean, just when I think back to it, I mean, it's been a year and a half. Like, I can't even believe it. And it's been the most craziest year and a half. But yes, and I've had to walk away from other people in my life in the last year and a half and just keep them at arm's length because they weren't fulfilling my, you know, my desires and things like that. Like I wasn't dependent on them, but I wanted them to cheer for me and be happy for me and all of this stuff. And it just,
it makes it easy. They didn't align with your value system. And what your three top values, those are things that everybody should. So it makes life easy, actually. Makes life easy in the decisions made for you. So before we have to wrap this up, because I could talk to you forever, and I think I had put my ringer on all the time, my little buzzer timer, because I'd be like, wah! 2 hours would go by. And
I know, right?
But where can everybody find you? Because I know people are going to want to hear more of your story. They want to get your book. They're going to want to read that, start applying, listening to you speak, go to your workshops. I mean, where can all of this happen?
Well, everyone, it's just my name. It's just meganfenyoe.com. That's Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, everything.
Love it.
Yes. And I do want to bring up the cards.
Oh, yeah. So the I Am Enough cards.
Before we wrap up, I'll make it quick.
You got it. I'll give you some. I've got some. She's got some. Talk about this because I've got my own picture. Everyone needs their picture with the card. FYI, you are nothing till the picture.
Yes. And I'm actually starting something new where on Thursdays I do a shout out individually to everyone, like one person a week with the card. So I'll get to that in a second. But anyway, the I Am Enough movement. So I created this movement about 4 months ago because I wanted to give back, you know, to all the people that were supporting of the book and my story and the people that have come to me and shared their story and blah, 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 blah. So I came up with this idea and also wanted to incorporate the therapy piece and the coaching piece of visual coping skills. So really quick, when we have a thought that we're not good enough or whatever that is, our mind sometimes can't switch that off. Most of the time can't. So a lot of times I have myself, my clients, my patients come up with really creative ideas for visualization. I love things like this. I've got I Am Enough tattooed on me. I've got another quote here. Like, I'm a visual girl. So I thought, what can I do to help promote positive self-esteem, helping people believe that they're enough? So I came up with this concept. It's the card that says, I am enough. And on the back, if you can see it, it says the word because with a couple lines. And what I encourage people to do is write why they believe that they're enough. Some people can't do that. Some people can only write something little, like, or not little, but just, even if it's just, I'm a good mom, right? I'm enough because I'm a good mom. They're like, well, that's not, it needs to be deeper. No, it doesn't. Start with just that. Start with, you know, I'm enough because I get up in the morning, right? Yeah. Whatever that is. So anyway, so the movement launched 4 months ago. The movement went international within 3 weeks. So what I love about it is that people can go to my website, meganfenyoe.com, and click on the I Am Enough movement icon and can order these cards absolutely free. So you get 5 per order. I mail them out to you with a thank you card and a bookmark and just more information on the movement. And what the movement is about is you get these cards. You write on the back why you believe you're enough. You carry this card with you every day. You put it up in your bathroom. I have one in my car. And then you get 5 because I want you to share them with people. So I go around San Diego, and when I travel, and that's how I met you actually, is handing out these cards. And the other part is taking a selfie with the card. Why? Because I remember a year and a half ago, I hid behind the camera. I never did selfies. I didn't want myself to be seen, right? And that was part of the fact that I wasn't confident and I didn't believe like I was enough. So I love this because I'm getting selfies from all over the world. And when I go to events or in San Diego, I'm like, can I get a picture of you? Blah, blah, blah. And then I upload them to our Instagram page and also on my website. So when you go to my website, click on the button, you'll go to gallery and you'll see all the pictures. You'll see beautiful Danielle's picture. And when you go to the Instagram page as well, you'll see the pictures. And so on the back of the card, there's a scan code, so you can find all the media pages. You can order more cards. So it's really exciting and it's taking off. I'm not getting as many selfies from people as I would want for as many people as have ordered cards. So
hint, hint.
If you're watching, send me your selfies. And they don't have to be perfect. Like I have one on the Instagram page where I'm in my pajamas. You know, it's my dad has one where he has it taped to his nose. Right? It's fun,
Be
right?
Creative. Be creative.
Be creative. Yes. So that is the movement. That's the one thing that I'm really focused on right now. I don't gain any money from it. Everything is free. It's just because that is my passion and my purpose. I went through everything I went through to get to this point today to help people truly believe that they're enough, no matter what has happened in their life, and that they're bound for greatness. So join in the movement, go to my website, get your cards, and let's have some creative fun taking some selfies.
Yes, I love it. I love it. And if you don't know how to spell it, because, I'd be like, what? How do you spell it? It is typed below. So all you got to do is click and voila, you are there. So Megan, thank you so much for sharing everything and giving a little piece of your time and your heart and who you are with everyone. And now they know exactly why I love you so much. And I will see you on the other side.